The Yonaguni Monument lies submerged off the coast of Yonaguni Island near Japan. Discovered by a diver in 1986, the monument is a massive underwater rock formation with sharp angles, stairways, roads, columns, towers, a large gateway, and a pyramid-like structure measuring about 90 meters wide and 25 meters tall. The site's origin remains heavily debated. Professor Masaki Kimura believes it's the remains of a city, possibly 10,000 years old, that was submerged by rising sea levels after the last ice age. He points to what he believes are carved rocks and consistent structural dimensions as evidence of human construction. Some also link it to the lost kingdom of Yamatai or the ancient Jomon people. However, most archaeologists consider the monument a natural rock formation. The mystery of Herxheim. Around 7,000 years ago, about 1,000 people died at Herxheim in southwestern Germany, an archaeological site linked to the linear pottery culture, the first farming society in Central Europe. The remains were discovered in 1995 during construction, revealing shattered skulls, broken jaws, and countless bone fragments. The bodies of men, women, and children had been systematically dismembered shortly after death, with cut marks like those left by butchers. The ritual appears to have been repeated over about 50 years, making it unlike normal burial practices of this era. Evidence suggests the bodies were butchered, roasted, and eaten, while some skulls were turned into cups. Isotopic analysis shows the victims came from distant mountainous regions rather than the local settlement, raising even more questions. Archaeologists still debate whether the site was the result of ritual mass sacrifice, war, or cannibalism during famine. You know, when you're diving into strange historical mysteries, it's fun to imagine stepping into another world, especially one you already know from the yellow brick road. Well, this game lets you step into its own twisted version of Oz. Stick around till the end because I'll show you how to claim some awesome free rewards. A new event, Echoes of Oz, has launched in Raid, and you can get the brand new legendary champion Dorothy Gale completely free just by logging in for 7 days between August 19th and November 19th. Dorothy is an OP support champion who removes enemy buffs, applies powerful debuffs, locks down enemies with CC, and becomes even stronger alongside other friends from Oz champions: Scarecrow, Tin Woodman, and the Cowardly Lion. You can also take on Ozilda the Wicked in the limited time event dungeon to earn chronophage gear and other valuable rewards. I've played Raid for quite a while, and what keeps me coming back is how much there's to do. I love collecting new champions like my favorite, Gnut, melting bosses, and building different teams. And I can play anywhere, whether at home or on the go, because the game is fully cross-platform. And now listen carefully. Use my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to get 3 legendary champions and 1 epic for free. You'll instantly unlock Narma the Returned, an amazing legendary champ for boss fights. Then you can choose another free legendary champion using one of the promo codes on screen. I recommend Wrath for Grand Oak Padrick, because he's an S-tier support champion. Don't forget to claim Dorothy Gale after logging in for 7 days, and once you reach level 15, you'll also unlock epic champ Chonoru. Just be sure to use my link in the description or scan the QR code to get all these rewards and support the channel. The Lost Atomic Bomb. On February 5th, 1958, the US accidentally lost a 7,600-pound Mark 15 thermonuclear bomb off the coast of Tybee Island, Georgia, when an Air Force B-47 bomber collided mid-air with an F-86 fighter jet. After a collision, pilot Howard Richardson dropped the bomb into the ocean to safely land his damaged aircraft. Despite extensive military searches and later investigations, it has never been recovered. The bomb is believed to be buried beneath up to 15 feet of silt in Wassaw Sound. The Air Force has long claimed it was an unarmed training weapon without its plutonium core, but declassified documents describe it as a complete weapon. Teotihuacan is a vast archaeological complex northeast of Mexico City, but its original builders are still unknown. Evidence shows it was a multi-ethnic city with influences from cultures like the Maya, Mixtec, and Zapotec. By the time the Aztecs discovered the ruins centuries later, the identity of its creator had already been lost. Human settlement in the valley began around 400 BC, with major construction, including the Pyramid of the Sun, taking shape around 300 AD. Early Spanish Spanish accounts wrongly linked the city to the later Toltecs, but they lived centuries after Teotihuacan's peak. At its height between 350 and 650 AD, it may have held up to 200,000 people and was highly organized with advanced urban planning and no signs of royal palaces or kingly burials, suggesting rule by an elite group rather than a single ruler. Scholars agree that the builders possessed advanced knowledge of architecture, mathematics, and astronomy. Archaeologists have discovered liquid mercury deep beneath the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, which is very rare in Mesoamerica. Its presence baffles researchers due to its toxicity and difficulty to extract, suggesting that the ancient builders had advanced knowledge of metallurgy and chemical processes. Others say it was simply extracted by heating mercury ore, but the purpose of the liquid mercury is still unknown. Some believe it's related to lost technologies or an energy generation system. Others say it was just used for rituals. The Aztecs later named it Teotihuacan, meaning City of the Gods, believing it was built by divine forces. Even stranger, the city was eventually abandoned for unknown reasons. The King's Sons. After King Edward IV of England died in 1483, his sons Edward and Richard were placed in the Tower of London by their uncle, the Duke of Gloucester, supposedly for their protection during the Wars of the Roses. But the Duke declared the boys illegitimate, claimed the throne as Richard III, and the princes gradually disappeared from public view before vanishing completely. Many believe Richard III had them murdered to secure his rule, though no proof has ever been found. Others claimed the boys escaped. Sir Thomas More later wrote that the princes were smothered on Richard III's orders, but his account was written decades after the events. Bones found in the Tower of London and St. George's Chapel have produced no conclusive answers, and the Crown has refused requests for DNA testing, leaving the prince's fate a mystery. Greek fire was an incendiary weapon used by the Byzantine Empire from the 7th to the 14th centuries. It was a liquid fire weapon that could burn even on water, making it extremely effective in naval battles and difficult to extinguish once ignited. The Byzantines kept its formula a tightly guarded state secret, and it was lost after the empire fell. It was deployed through siphons that sprayed burning liquid onto enemy ships. Some theories claim it included substances like sulfur, quicklime, or saltpeter, but there is no agreement on the true recipe. Modern historians believe it was likely petroleum-based, similar to early napalm, possibly mixed with materials like crude oil or resin. However, the exact ingredients, proportions, and ignition method are still uncertain. The secrecy was reinforced by separating knowledge between those who made it, those who built the weapons, and those who used them, which helped ensure it was never fully documented. Sacsayhuamán is a citadel on the northern edge of Cusco, Peru. While its purpose is understood, the methods used to quarry, transport, and fit massive limestone blocks, some weighing over 100 tons, possibly up to 200, remain unclear. The stones were also transported from quarries miles away across difficult terrain. The walls are built from irregular polygonal stones, fitted so tightly that not even a piece of paper can pass between them, with no mortar used. This precision has led to debates about how pre-industrial societies achieved such accuracy, with ideas ranging from advanced abrasion techniques to theories involving stone-softening plant extracts. The structure is also highly earthquake-resistant, built on interlocking designs and sand foundations that allow it to absorb seismic movement without collapsing. The site is mainly attributed to the Inca in the 15th century, but evidence suggests earlier construction by the Quilchi culture, with the Inca later expanding it. Some even say the Incas themselves didn't know who built the original structures. Recent radar surveys have also revealed underground tunnels and reservoirs connected to Cusco. While mainstream archaeology credits advanced engineering and large-scale human effort, alternative theories range from lost technologies to non-human involvement. Early Spanish observers, unable to explain it, attributed the site to magic or demons. Sage Wall is located near Whitehall, Montana, and is described as a 275-foot-long structure made of massive granite blocks aligned in a straight formation up to 25 feet high. The largest stones are estimated to weigh up to 91 tons, and the structure is said to continue about 15 feet underground. The blocks look tightly fitted, with right angles and interlocking shapes similar to ancient megalithic sites in places like Peru, Egypt, Greece, Easter Island, and Japan. Some stones stones also show surface knobs and cup marks, which are found at other global stone sites, but whose purpose isn't clear. Ground-penetrating radar and other tests reportedly revealed unusual magnetism and a flat foundation beneath the structure. Geologists say it's a natural formation created by volcanic and tectonic activity. However, scientist Dr. Semir Osmanagic says that the sage wall is likely man-made, oriented to face the winter solstice, the astronomical event marking the shortest day and longest night of the year. He claims it may have been built before the end of the last ice age, around 11,700 years ago. Others claim its location near ancient migration routes across a former land bridge between Asia and North America is strategic and not random. Nearby sites like the Taizer Dolmen, another megalithic stone formation, are also cited in connection with the area's mystery. The true origin of Sage Wall remains unclear. The Bog Bodies. Since the 18th century, hundreds of well-preserved human bodies have been found in peat bogs across northern Europe, some dating back as far as 8000 BC. One of the most famous is the Tollund man, discovered in Denmark in 1950, who lived in the 3rd century BC. His body was so well preserved that even his last meals could be studied to help date his life. These bog bodies are naturally preserved by the acidic, low-oxygen conditions of peat. Despite differences in age, gender, and status, many show signs of violent deaths, including strangulation, hanging, stabbing, or blunt force trauma. In many cases, the exact cause of death can't be confirmed. This has led to ongoing debate over whether they were ritual sacrifices, executed criminals, social outcasts, or part of other unknown practices. Many also show repeated or excessive violence before death, the reason for which remains unclear. The Ulfberht Swords are around 170 medieval blades, found mainly in northern Europe, dated between the 9th and 11th centuries, probably manufactured in the Frankish Empire, modern-day Germany and France. They are marked with the inscription Ulfberht, a Frankish name meaning famous wolf, possibly linked to an individual smith, a craftsman family, or a monastic workshop. The swords are famous for their unusually pure metal. The genuine ones were made from crucible steel with extremely low impurities and high carbon content, a quality that would not be reproduced in Europe until about 800 years later. Only 30 of the known swords are authentic, high-quality versions, while the rest are lower-grade copies made of standard iron. Some of these also carry the Ulfberht name, suggesting early counterfeiting or imitation of the brand. Because of their incredible durability and shatter resistance, authentic Ulfberht swords were the ultimate status symbols, valued similarly to a luxury car today. Their exact origin is still unclear. The metal may have been imported from Central Asia or India through trade routes like the Volga, then forged in regions such as the Rhineland. They are found across Europe and even into Russia, reflecting wide Viking-era trade networks. But the exact source of the steel and the methods used to create the originals remain unknown. Edgar Allan Poe, the famous American writer, died in Baltimore on October 7, 1849, at the age of 40, under mysterious circumstances that have never been explained. After leaving Richmond on September 27th, his whereabouts are completely unknown, until he was found nearly a week later outside a polling place, wearing worn-out clothes that didn't belong to him. Poe was delirious, hallucinating, unable to explain what had happened, and repeatedly called for someone named Reynolds. His reported final words were, "Lord, help my poor soul." No death certificate or medical record survive, and no autopsy was performed. Many theories about this incident have emerged. One of the most popular is cooping, a political voting scam in which victims were kidnapped, drugged, disguised, and forced to vote multiple times. Other theories include alcohol poisoning, rabies, a brain tumor, pneumonia, tuberculosis, heart disease, or heavy metal poisoning. The true cause remains unknown. The Sea People are a group mentioned in ancient Egyptian records, described as migrating across the Mediterranean around 1200 BC and causing destruction in regions like Anatolia, Crete, and Egypt. They are often linked to the Bronze Age collapse, including the fall of the Hittite Empire. Egyptian inscriptions describe them as invading forces that attacked by sea in coordinated fleets, leaving entire regions devastated. Their identity is uncertain, but they are thought to have been a confederation of different groups, such as the Pelset Pelset, Checker, Shekelesh, Denon, and Weshesh. The Pelset are often associated with the Philistines, and archaeological finds from sites like Ashkelon suggest connections to populations from southern Europe. Many theories suggest they could have included Mycenaeans, Minoans, Trojans, Etruscans, or other displaced peoples from the Mediterranean and Anatolia. Modern research views them as a mixed coalition of refugees, mercenaries, and migrants. Their movement was likely driven by droughts, earthquakes, and economic breakdowns, but their exact origins and identity remain unresolved. The tomb of Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, founder of the largest contiguous empire in history, died during a military campaign in 1227. Although the exact cause of his death is uncertain, his burial place remains one of history's greatest mysteries. According to legend, he wanted his tomb to stay hidden forever, and everyone involved in his funeral procession was killed to protect its location. One account claims he was buried where he died without any marker, while others say his soldiers erased all traces of the grave after burying him. Most believe the tomb lies somewhere in northeastern Mongolia, especially in the Khanty Mountains where Genghis spent his youth. For decades, limited access to Mongolia slowed the search. Since then, archaeologists have searched, but no confirmed tomb has ever been found. The search also remains controversial as many Mongolians believe his final resting place should remain undisturbed. The Toxic Lady. In 1994, 31-year-old Gloria Ramirez, who had advanced cervical cancer, was rushed to a California hospital after a suspected heart attack. Doctors noticed her skin had an oily sheen, her blood smelled of ammonia and garlic, and strange yellowish crystals were floating in it. As staff treated her, 23 hospital workers suddenly became ill, suffering fainting, breathing problems, convulsions, and temporary paralysis, forcing the emergency room to be evacuated. One employee was hospitalized for 2 weeks. Ramirez later died, but no one could explain what had caused the toxic fumes. One explanation suggested the symptoms were the result of mass hysteria triggered by a stressful situation. Another theory says Ramirez had been using DMSO, a pain-relieving solvent that may have reacted with oxygen and other treatments to produce toxic dimethyl sulfate gas. Despite multiple investigations, no explanation has been proven. The town full of twins. Linha São Pedro, a small German settlement near Cândido Godoy in Brazil, is known for an unusually high number of twin births, more than 10 times the national average. Despite years of research, scientists still can't explain why. One theory claimed Nazi doctor Josef Mengele conducted experiments there after reportedly visiting the village in the 1960s. However, scientists reject this. Researchers believe genetics and the community's relative isolation may play a role, but no specific cause has been identified. Similar clusters of unusually high twin births have also been reported in Kodini, India, and Igboora, Nigeria. Tarrare was a French showman, soldier, and spy born near Lyon in 1772. From childhood, he could eat enormous amounts of food without feeling full, reportedly consuming his own weight in meat in a single day. Unable to afford feeding him, his family forced him to leave, and he later joined a circus where he amazed crowds by eating live cats, snakes, offal, stones, and corks. He later served as a French spy to smuggle messages in boxes he would swallow, but was captured by the Germans. After returning to France, he sought treatment in a hospital, but his hunger only worsened. He searched the garbage, ate cadavers, and was even accused of eating a missing toddler. He died of tuberculosis at age 26. During his autopsy, doctors found an unusually enlarged esophagus that allowed them to see directly into his stomach through his open mouth. Modern theories include hypothyroidism, neurological damage, or severe pica disorder, but none fully explain his condition, which was never diagnosed or cured. The Phoenix Lights. On March 13th, 1997, thousands of people across Arizona, Nevada, and Mexico reported mysterious lights in the night sky. The event is divided into two separate sightings. Around 8:30 p.m., witnesses described a huge silent V-shaped object moving overhead, with some saying it was so large it blocked out the stars. The object was not detected by military radar, and no widely accepted explanation has been found. Around 10 p.m., a second group of stationary amber lights appeared over Phoenix. The US Air Force said these were high-intensity flares dropped by Maryland National Guard A-10 Warthog aircraft during a training exercise, but many eyewitnesses disputed that explanation. Because the official flare explanation only applies to the later lights, the earlier sighting of the massive V-shaped object remains one of the most debated unexplained events in US history. Ishi no Hōden is a 500-ton megalith in Takasago, Japan, resting above a pond at Oshiko Shrine, creating the illusion that it's floating. Carved from a single block or tuff stone, it stands about 15 feet high and deep, making it larger than any stone used in the Great Pyramid of Giza. No one knows who carved it, when it was made, or what its original purpose was. It appears to have been cut directly from the surrounding bedrock. Yet no ancient tools, quarry remains, or similar structures have been found nearby to explain how it was created. Some estimates place its construction as far back as the prehistoric Jomon period. The stone's sharp angles and smooth surfaces have led some to compare it to part of a giant machine, while researchers have suggested its orientation may align with minor lunar standstills. Local legends say it was built by the gods in a single day, and the monument is also associated with the healing of illnesses. Another mystery is the pond beneath it, which is said to never dry up even during severe droughts. The Khara-Hora Shaft, or Zeyukovo Cave, is a vertical shaft in the Caucasus Mountains of Russia. Estimated to be between 40 and 300 meters deep, it's known for its unusually smooth walls, parallel stone slabs, and massive interlocking blocks that give it the appearance of an engineered structure. Reports of a low-frequency 17 Hz humming sound gave it the nickname the Humming Pit. There are no historical or archaeological records explaining who built it or what its purpose was. Expeditions have also found a swastika-like symbol and the date October 28, 1942 near the entrance. While some link this to a Nazi expedition, historians note the symbol also existed for thousands of years in Eurasian cultures. Some believe the shaft is the ventilation tunnel of a lost advanced civilization, but geologists say its straight walls and block-like formations are the result of natural processes, including magma cooling, tectonic stress, and orthogonal block weathering. The true origin of the shaft remains debated. Coricancha in Cusco, Peru, was the most important temple in the Inca Empire, and a central site dedicated to the sun god. Spanish chroniclers reported that it once contained a massive solid gold sun disk that tracked the sun, but its location is unknown. The site is also linked to legends of chicañas, hidden underground tunnels beneath Cusco. Ground-penetrating radar surveys suggest underground cavities exist, but they have not been fully mapped or explored. These are rumored to hide the empire's most sacred artifacts, including the sun disk. Coricancha is known for extremely precise Inca stonework, with interlocking masonry where even a razor blade cannot fit between joints. Despite centuries and major earthquakes, including one in 1950 that destroyed the Spanish-built monastery on top of it, the original Inca foundations remained intact. Some researchers note unusual glass-like or vitrified surfaces on certain stones and suggest they may have been softened or heat-treated during construction, possibly allowing stones to fit together with extreme precision. This idea is supported by the presence of stone nubs found on many Peruvian blocks, which could have been used to control the flow of heat or energy during the construction. No confirmed explanation exists for how the Inca achieved this level of engineering. Mohenjo-Daro was a major ancient city in the Indus Valley, located in present-day Pakistan and built around 2600 BC. It was a highly developed urban center but was suddenly abandoned. Excavations revealed human skeletons scattered in streets, suggesting sudden deaths without formal burials. Some bricks and structures appear to show signs of extreme heat exposure, which has led to debate over a possible sudden destructive event. Reports have also claimed elevated radiation levels at parts of the site, though these findings are disputed. Alternative theories suggest the city may have been destroyed by a powerful explosion, while mainstream explanations point to more gradual causes such as flooding, climate change, or environmental decline. Despite decades of study, the reason for Mohenjo-Daro's sudden collapse remains unsolved. The melted ruins of Scotland refer to ancient Iron Age hill forts, such as the one at Tabo North, where stone walls appear partially melted and fused into glass-like material. These forts were originally built over 2000 years ago, but later showed signs of extreme heat that caused sections of stone to vitrify, turning them into blackened glassy formations rather than normal rock. More than 70 similar vitrified forts exist in Scotland, and over 150 are found across Europe, all showing comparable signs of stone fused by temperatures around 1200 degrees Celsius. This level of heat is difficult to explain with known natural processes. Early theories included lightning, volcanic activity, or even mythological causes, but these were largely dismissed. By the late 18th century, the Royal Society of Edinburgh concluded the vitrification was likely artificial, meaning humans may have intentionally heated the structures. However, later attempts to recreate the effect, including experiments in the 1980s, only reached around 800 degrees and failed to fully reproduce true vitrification. Excavations show that normal stone walls and timber structures existed beneath the vitrified layers, and the melting pattern often starts inside the walls and spreads outward, suggesting a controlled and unusual heating process rather than external fire damage. Despite many theories, no confirmed explanation exists for how or why these forts were transformed this way. Similar melted stone can be found at the Black Pyramid of Dashur, Egypt. Libyan desert glass is a natural silica glass found in the Great Sand Sea along the Egypt-Libya border in the Eastern Sahara. It formed about 29 million years ago under extreme heat, likely from a meteorite impact that melted surface sand at temperatures above 1700 degrees. Mineral evidence supports an origin from a high-energy cosmic event, but the exact crater responsible for its formation has never been found despite extensive searches. It may have been eroded or buried by shifting desert sands. The material is often compared to trinitite, the green glass formed during the 1945 Trinity nuclear test. Libyan desert glass has also been found in ancient Egyptian artifacts, including a scarab in a necklace belonging to Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Despite its well-supported formation theory, the missing impact site keeps the full story unresolved. Yangshan Quarry in China, about 20 kilometers from Nanjing, contains the world's largest known unfinished megaliths. These massive stones were carved during the Ming Dynasty for a monumental stele ordered by the emperor in the early 15th century, but the project was never completed. The site includes 3 enormous partially carved blocks weighing over 30,000 tons combined. The scale of the stones is far beyond most other ancient monoliths, including those at Baalbek. The prevailing explanation is that the project was abandoned because the stones were too large and heavy to transport or lift, with the technology available at the time. However, the precision carving and sheer scale have led to speculation about whether the stones were shaped using now lost, highly advanced technological methods. Don't forget to install RAID using the link in the description or the QR code on screen.